Yes.
Okay. So again, for those of you who didn't hear my presentation yesterday, my name is Gen Kanai, and I work for Mozilla. And my main responsibilities, I don't know if I mentioned this yesterday, I'm not in the programming side of the project. I'm more responsible for business partnerships, community development, localization. And my main focus is Asia. So I work with Mozilla Taiwan community, community in Japan. I helped set up the community, the group in China. I'll be traveling next week to Thailand. So my main focus is the Asian area. Today I have a pretty short presentation about mobile Firefox. And before I forget, I have a version of mobile Firefox running. I have a version of mobile Firefox that's running on this Nokia N810. This is a Linux Wi-Fi mobile device. And if anyone wants to try it, you're welcome to try it after the presentation. So, before I start, how many people knew that Mozilla has a mobile project in development? Okay, some of you. So, our mobile project is called Fennec. And this is the code name. This is not the real name of the browser. I don't know what the real name will be. Maybe it'll be Mobile Firefox, or Firefox Mobile. I'm not sure yet. Okay.
Fox or a doll?
I'm sorry?
Is that a fox or doll?
This is a fox. So people ask, what is Fennec? This is a Fennec. This is a Fennec fox. It's a fox from northern Africa. So it's a small African fox with big ears. And so this is a fox. And there's a very nice lady who's running an animal shelter, and she uses Firefox. she has a Fennec, so she said please use the photo. So and so this is the logo that we've created just for the Fennec project. So in the future, when you see more information about Fennec, you'll see this logo. I think it's obvious to everybody why mobile is so important. And in many ways, the headquarters of Mozilla is in California, as you probably know. And the US is very far behind in mobile. And Europe and Asia, Japan and Korea, they're much more advanced in 3G, in devices, etc. So I think mobile is clearly so important for everybody. Not only people who use PCs all the time, but there are many, many people in the whole world who only will use the internet, via their mobile phone, especially in more developing nations and in Africa and some other places where their infrastructure is not as good. Mobile will be their main way of communication. So clearly providing a strong, safe, secure, sort of Mozilla experience browser will be very, very important. So that's why we're working on this. Just some information about mobile phone market. So the area that Mozilla is targeting is this light blue area here, the smartphone area. So right now, our core rendering engine, Gecko, is a little bit too heavy to work on the small phones. So we're going to be targeting the smartphone, high-end phone market. Of course, the smartphone shipments we've seen growing and growing and growing. People want want to do more with their phones. Of course, the iPhone is very popular, and I think the iPhone has shown that that a full-featured browser, a real browser on a mobile device is possible, and no more WAF, none of this, mobile-only stuff. If people want a real browser that runs the real web in their mobile phone, just like they do on a PC. So this is a market share survey looking at what's popular right now, and of course, Symbian on Nokia is very popular. But when you look at the mobile phone market, there are many, many things changing. So Android is a big factor that may become very popular in the future. Of course, iPhone also. Small in market share, but gets a lot of attention. And now with the App Store, people are very focused on the iPhone. And then also there's the LIMO Foundation, Linux Mobile Foundation, and that's the group that Mozilla is working with to provide Firefox on mobile phone. This, you can't read the small details, but when you look at a big project like Mozilla, this is sort of an architecture map of Mozilla. And so down here at the bottom, we have Windows, Mac, and Linux, the platforms. This part here in the blue and in the green is what we call Gecko. So Gecko gives you JavaScript, all of the HTML rendering, CSS, DOM, SVG, all of those technologies, that's in Gecko. And at the top, you see these, the Firefox, Thunderbird, Zool Runner, Prism. I talked a little bit about Prism yesterday. In fact, for Mozilla, the same technology, the same Gecko is used, and merely the interfaces are different. So you have an interface for a browser, and the core portion is Gecko. The interface for a mail client, which is Thunderbird, and the core portion is Gecko. So this is how Mozilla works. And for mobile, basically we're providing the exact same core technology for the mobile device as we do for Firefox 3 and then upcoming Thunderbird 3. So on mobile, it looks like this. The platforms, all the same technology, and at the top, you've got what's a mobile Firefox interface. So the goals for Firefox on a mobile device are basically the same goals that we have for Firefox on the PC. So lots of customizability with extensions, all of the same security benefits that you get using Firefox 3, so anti-phishing, anti-malware, all the other security benefits. We're trying to make it a very fast performing browser, and the technologies that I talked about yesterday, the Trace Monkey JavaScript engine, that will be in the new version of Firefox Mobile. And then of course the simplicity. So sometimes people say, why doesn't Firefox have my favorite extension? Well, it's because we want to make Firefox simple, but customizable. So everybody wants a different extension, and we can't provide all of the extensions to everybody. So we try and provide the good, basic, simple functionality, but keep an open platform for people to customize. And Firefox for mobile will have all of the same open APIs and add-on capability as regular PC Firefox. So add-on developers or extension developers, they can develop add-on for mobile Firefox. So if you use Firefox 3, you know that there's the new location bar, we call it the awesome bar, that uses your history, places that you visited, to provide you suggestions on the sites that you're inputting. And it doesn't work, it works in double byte languages as well as single byte. And so this technology will be very important for mobile, and it's already in the development version. These are, again, I want to say that these are development mock-ups. This is not the final design. So please, don't, if the final design is different, you know why. So we're also trying to provide as much of the screen real estate for the web content as possible. So you can see if you try this very early still development version, that all of the buttons and the navigation and all that stuff disappears and only comes onto the screen when you do an action or when you want it. Otherwise, the screen tries to stay as big for the content as possible. So again, as I said, it's a small screen optimized. So as you're doing a search, you know, you'll have some. This part down here this is from the Nokia Linux operating system. But once you get to the content, the UI moves away, and as much of the content is for the web page as possible. So for tabs, what we're thinking about right now is something like this, where you have tabs on the side, but they're hidden until you want to switch. So normally, it'll be like this. And only when you want to switch tabs or open a new tab, the tab menu and then the location bar will come in. And some of the other things we're thinking about is that for mobile, well, obviously the same type of information that you'll be able to do everything that you can do on the PC version. But for instance, maybe using micro formats. If you're using your mobile Firefox and your device has a GPS, maybe you can tell a website to give you information about restaurants in a particular area, or this type of thing. So those are the types of things. Those are also the types of things that we're thinking about. Is that you will be able to control obviously all your personal information, but if you want to provide a website with your GPS location and your device supports it, we want to give an interface for that. So this is saying, you know, New York Times wants to know where you are. Tell them nothing. Tell them that you're in this city. Tell them you're at NTU, or tell them that you're in this classroom. That type of thing. And I mentioned yesterday the Weave project. The Weave project is a web service from Mozilla that provides basically a way to sync all of your personal information between browsers. So 2 browsers, different computers, you can sync them securely with this Weave service. This becomes also very important for mobile. So you can be using your PC at home, take your mobile device, travel, and oh, that site I bookmarked or that restaurant I bookmarked on the PC, it's also bookmarked here on my mobile device. That's the reason why we think Weave is so powerful. And so all of the things that I mentioned, all the things that I mentioned yesterday about TraceMonkey, JavaScript tracing for mobile CPUs, obviously optimized for mobile networks. We're looking at trying to lower startup time and trying to lower memory use. same goals as PC Firefox. So right now, the two platforms that we are supporting are Linux and Windows Mobile. So people ask us all the time, I want Firefox on S60, or I want Firefox on iPhone. Well, we can't put Firefox on iPhone because of Apple's policy. Now, Apple says it's a technical limitation, but I find it hard to believe. Apple does not allow Java. Apple does not allow Flash. Apple does not allow Mozilla on iPhone. And so this is interesting. This is the one time actually where Windows, in fact, is more open. More open than Apple. So MIMO Linux is the version of Linux that Nokia is using on their platform. And we are also we've also joined the Limo Foundation. The Limo Foundation is providing guidance and specifications for Linux devices. So manufacturers who want to build devices that run Linux. So Symbian, if you remember the pie chart, Symbian has almost 50% of the market. And Symbian is a very important OS for mobile. We want to, but we haven't been able to support Symbian just yet. I will say that there has been some recent work on this, and if you're interested in Qt, Firefox on Qt, or Mozilla on Qt, there's been some recent work, but we can't promise this yet. The current schedule is, as you see here, right now the version that I have is not even an alpha. It's still needs work. And yeah, again, we're doing this in the open, just like all of our other projects. All of our developers are on IRC. All of our conference calls are open. All of our mailing lists are open. We're working with device manufacturers. I know that there are many carriers who are interested. Some big Korean companies, big Scandinavian companies working with us. So we're very happy to have more people involved. So thank you very much. Are there any questions? Is it time for questions? Yes. Okay.
It's nice to hear that Mozilla is still working on the browser for the mobile device. I remember many years ago there's Mini Mozilla or Minimo still alive.
No, Minimo is now it's in the closet. All of our developers are focusing on Fennec.
Thank you.
So you mentioned Limo Foundation. How about OpenLocal? Are you working with them in any way?
We are. I don't know. I don't think there's anything stopping us from working with OpenLocal. They're welcome to build and put, test. And we'd be happy to work with them. But I haven't heard anything official.
I'm an engineer of OpenLocal.
Oh, great.
I thought I want to ask a question. Do I want to build a mobile Mozilla?
Yes.
Where can I get a source or get a job from it?
Sure. These places.
The technical account.
All of our information is online.
Okay, I see.
Yes. To give me your email, and I can.
Okay, no problem. I have a question.
So if Android already has is working with WebKit. So right now we don't have plans to ship Firefox on Android. So yeah, the platforms that were listed before are the ones that we're considering.
That's cool. That's two questions. Okay. Let's answer